Wait! Before you get started, how would you like to get bigger ROIs and start making money with Bing Ads even faster? First off, I want to personally thank you for purchasing the step-by-step guide to Bing Ads. You'll have profitable campaigns running in no time with what you'll discover inside the guide. But what if you could take a shortcut to success with PPC using Bing Ads? What if you could begin getting positive ROIs faster? And what if you could also get better results and make sure that you avoid the most common pitfalls people run into with Bing Ads? Although the guide you just purchased is written in a step-by-step format, many people learn much better by watching something done as opposed to just reading about it in a guide. That's because most people are visual learners. How about you? How do you normally learn the best? Would you rather read through a training course, or would it be easier to get results if you could watch a video training that shows you exactly how to do it? If you're like most people, watching a video is far more effective than going through a text-based course alone. In fact, most people that get a text-based guide rarely get all the way through the training. And of the few people that do complete the training, very few actually retain what they read about. That means even if you finish the guide, you may not actually use what you just read about. That's a waste of your time and your money. But what if you didn't have to choose? What if you could get a complete video training course in addition to the text-based training guide that you just purchased? Something that will take you by the hand and give you that next level of training that you need to get big results with Bing Ads. That means more traffic, more conversions, and bigger profits in your pocket. The good news is you're going to get the one-time opportunity to get your hands on a video upgrade to the course you just purchased today, at a big discount. I want you to start getting targeted traffic that converts like crazy as quickly as possible. That's why I put together this powerful video upgrade to the guide you just purchased. You see, there are little details that can be the difference in seeing huge results with Bing Ads and ultimately falling flat on your face and not making a dime in profit. Or even worse. If you do things wrong with Bing Ads, you could even find yourself losing money. I don't want that to happen. This video upgrade makes absolutely sure you don't miss any important details when it comes to getting started with Bing Ads, setting up your first campaign, learning how to handle targeting and create your ads for the best results, and ultimately knowing when to scale your campaign up and maximize your profits. If you miss even one step in the process of getting set up with your first campaign and running your ads, you could find yourself wasting a ton of time and ultimately missing out on sales or even losing money on ads that don't convert. When you follow what you'll learn inside the step-by-step video training, you'll ensure that you get success with Bing Ads right out of the gates. Click the button below to get instant access. And, of course, as an existing customer, you'll get access to the upgrade with special, customer-only discounted pricing. This is the next best thing to having a Bing Ads expert taking you by the hand and showing you how to get big results with Bing. Because this is so powerful, it will be easy to charge $500 or more for this upgrade, and it will be worth every penny. But you won't pay anywhere near $500 today when you make the smart decision to upgrade. And to make it even easier to get started with this upgrade today, you're also going to get an exclusive bonus of 10 high-quality audio MP3s of all the training. This makes it easy to learn on the go and get results even faster. When you add the MP3s to the 10 high-quality videos that show you how to see success with Bing ads, it's impossible to fail. And to make upgrading a complete no-brainer, you get to test drive this upgrade for the next 30 days. With absolutely zero risk. If for any reason, or no reason at all, you're not 100% satisfied with what you learn inside, simply send me an email and I'll refund every single penny of your tiny investment. No questions asked. But please don't wait. This is an exclusive one-time offer at pricing that's only available to my existing customers. If you wait, you may never get another chance to get access to this at a price this low. Click the button below to get instant access today. At this point, you should now have a solid idea of what Bing ads are, how they work, and most importantly, how you can get them to work for you. But there is more to creating a successful campaign. You'll find that the more you work at it, the more you learn and the more you can keep honing your strategy to create better and better ROI. And here are some more tips and tools to help you do that. Bing Webmaster Tools is an immensely useful tool for monitoring both your PPC progress and your SEO on Bing. To get started, just head over to bing.com/webmaster and sign in with your Microsoft account. That's the one that you use to log into Windows. And you'll then be redirected to this page. And from here, you can add your site by putting it into this box and clicking Add. On the next page, you'll be prompted to add some details about yourself, your name, your company name, etc. And then you'll be asked to place an XML file on your server to help Bing keep track of your site. And this will allow you to find out how your site is performing in searches, and you can combine this with your PPC metrics to get a more complete picture of your overall progress, your hits, etc., etc. Another useful tool that Bing offers is its SEO Analyzer. This is a tool that you can use to look at the SEO on your page. On-site SEO is also very important, meaning things like use of your keywords and your general coding practices, that sort of thing. It all matters. It's all very important to Bing. And this particular tool will analyze 15 different metrics, such as your H1 tags, your metadata, and more. And you can find it here at bing.com/toolbox/SEO-analyzer. Want to bring your ads further up the SERPs? Here are some fresh tips from Bing's own site. First of all, increase your ad relevance. The more directly relevant your keywords are to your landing page, the more likely Bing is to show your ads high up. Bing goes on to suggest that you try to avoid gimmicks on your landing page and to be upfront with an interesting and clear product. This will help your conversion rates too, so it's very much worthwhile. You should also showcase specific content and talk to your customers in their language to create what Bing will see as effective ads. Increase your bid. Of course, the higher you bid, the better your chances will be of ranking high up in the SERPs. And here's one not from the site. Improve your Twitter followers. Bing has a close connection with Twitter, and this has allowed a feature where it can show the number of followers you have on Twitter next to your ads. This is called a social extension, and it's another place where Bing beats AdWords. Internet marketers, meet Bing. Bing, meet internet marketers. Right, with the introductions out of the way, let's get you two acquainted. Point number 1. Bing likes to take things literally. Bing is a bit like that slightly slow friend that you had in school who didn't really understand jokes. Or, to put it another way, as in AI, Bing is probably somewhere on the spectrum. Yes, taking things too literally is one of the most common criticisms leveled at Bing, and that's because it has a tendency to simply look for exact matches in the content. If you search for "I like to eat steak," then Bing will look for websites that have that phrase or something similar in the text. On the other hand, Google just looks for content about steak and about people who like to eat steak. In this way, Google shows a little more understanding and has more ability to read between the lines. Not that this is always a good thing, mind. Sometimes Google's second guessing can actually be a bit irritating and can lead to results that aren't directly related to what you're looking for. If you ask a question, for instance, then Bing will be more likely to bring up a page where someone else has asked the same question, and this can be very useful. But what it means for you is that it's still worth using some keywords. Whereas Google is much more about latent semantic indexing and writing around the subject, perhaps using some long tail keywords, Bing will still reward you for including the very basic keywords that you're trying to rank for. So try and do a little of both. You'll want to use a slightly lower link density than you used to if you want to avoid being penalized for spamming by Google, but you should still include some keywords there for Bing. Point number 2, user engagement matters. Something that Google and Bing can agree on is that user engagement matters. Except Bing is even more explicit about this, if anything, and has even coined a phrase to describe the activity they want to avoid: pogo sticking. There will be none of this, thank you very much. Pogo sticking is when a website visitor jumps from one result, clicks back, and then clicks on another. This is what they want to avoid. So if you want Bing to love you, you need to prevent your visitors from wanting to click back. This means you need to grab attention early on, and it means that you need to think about your page speed, your design, etc. Point number 3, so do click-through rates. Another similar factor that Bing also takes seriously is CTR, the click-through rate. In other words, how many people click on your link. So if they keep showing your website in their SERPs but no one ever clicks on it, this suggests your site doesn't look very interesting. All it's doing is cluttering up the page and taking up space that another site could make better use of. This is quite a clever way for Bing to check that the results coming up are relevant, or that they seem relevant in the eyes of visitors. This is interesting because it's not something that Google talks a lot about, and improving your CTR is going to involve a rather different process compared with the SEO practices you're probably used to. What improves CTR? Well, many things, but of course the title and the meta description are going to be right up there. Think about what will be interesting for someone who is searching for the key phrase that you're trying to rank for. Make sure there is a direct connection here and have all the signals pointing to the same topic. And learn how to write engaging titles and descriptions. Point number 4, social signals are big on Bing. There's some debate still as to the role of social signals on Google even now. We know for a fact that getting +1s on Google Plus will improve your Google ranking, but whether the same is true for Facebook likes is less certain. And if Facebook was central to Google's strategy, then you might ask why BuzzFeed isn't the #1 result for every search. But Bing has gone on record as saying that social signals do matter to them, and this means that you should definitely include social media marketing as part of your marketing strategy. Point number 5, crawl depth. Going back to your site content and keywords for a moment, it's also interesting to consider the difference in crawl depth for Google versus Bing. Reportedly, Bing only crawls around the first 100 kilobytes of a web page, unlike Google, which will read your whole site. This means you should aim to include your keywords more heavily in the first portion of your content compared with the rest. And this actually makes a lot of sense for Google too, but for different reasons. Google actually looks at certain key points within your content as being more important indicators than others. The first paragraph is one section that's given extra importance, as is the last paragraph and other headings. And by increasing the keyword density in your first paragraph, you can send the right signals to Bing without getting too spammy with keywords for Google. Everyone wins. This also introduces some other interesting points too. For instance, a lot of people will rely on sitemaps in order to help search engines index their site. This is one page that links every other page on the domain, and it means that once the map is indexed, Google knows where to find all future content you add. But this won't work for Bing if it's only reading the top segment of the page. If you want your sitemap to work for Bing, you need to ensure that you put pages you most want to be found right at the top. And if you're adding new content, you want to make sure that new content goes at the top of any list rather than at the bottom. Point number 6, respect your elder content. Bing believes in golden oldies. In other words, it believes that an older domain is more likely to be authoritative than a newer domain. So if you have a page that's been around for a long time, you'll find it gradually climbs up the rankings. This is one thing that's personally always put me off about Bing. Most of the research I do requires up-to-date and current answers, and that means I can't make do with posts from 2012. When I search on Bing, I'm often left wondering if anything I'm reading is relevant anymore. This is a personal preference though. As far as SEO goes, it's actually a good thing. Why? Because it means that Google is going to like fresh content and Bing will give it some love as it starts to fade. But do bear in mind that both Bing and Google prefer older domains. Of course, there are way more differences than we have time to go into in detail, so let's look at some rapid-fire differences to finish off. Bing likes keyword domains more, Google prefers brand name domains. Bing takes site authority very seriously. It likes editorial content, older domains, and established organizations. PageRank is less relevant for Google these days, and it's never been relevant for Bing. Bing likes content closely linked to a site's homepage, and it likes breadcrumbs. Another thing to take some time to learn is about Bing's spam filter, and this is how Bing decides whether or not to penalize sites that show up in its SERPs. So you need to make sure that you observe the rules that Bing recommends. This means being careful about your outbound links, only link to clean sites, don't trade links, and use Bing's webmaster tools to find out if your site's been blocked. That's right. Bing has a webmaster tools just like Google does, and it's just as useful / invaluable for marketers. And you can find this at bing.com/toolbox/webmaster. As the Alan Parsons Project sang, where do we go from here? Now you have lots of information about why Bing SEO matters, how it works, and how different it is from Google. But you also know that you need to keep focusing on Google. So what's the best way to proceed? Well, exactly as we said earlier. For the most part, you're not going to do anything that differently, but you may want to consider including a few more keywords in your opening paragraphs. Maybe show a little more love to your legacy content and perhaps reorganize your sitemap. Oh, and definitely think about your titles, your meta descriptions, and how these factors will impact on your CTR. And in doing all that, you'll be throwing Bing the occasional bone that will help you to succeed a little bit more on the second biggest search engine in the world. And this will help you start tapping into that 30% market share a bit more and hopefully improving your number of visitors. And if the Google apocalypse ever does come, at least you'll have a backup site that will still be bringing you fresh visitors and helping you to run your business. And then everyone else will find themselves wishing they paid just a little bit more attention to old number 2. Oh, and one last thing. Why not go and take a look at your current rankings on Bing right now? If you haven't looked before, then it might surprise you just how similar or different the results are.